Hello and welcome to the DweltOggy Show. Do you know what makes for a great YouTube video? One that chases YouTube search traffic trends to produce soulless, uninspired content only designed to get a few meaningless views. With that in mind, Far Cry 5 comes out next week, so to capitalise on that YouTube search traffic, we're here to talk about the Far Cry franchise. Well, the numbered ones. Starting with 2. Okay, so maybe not the whole franchise, just the ones I happen to own because I'm a cheapskate and love to save me some money. These games have an interesting legacy, as Ubisoft took over the reins of the franchise, the first Far Cry being a Crytek game, and I believe that they have an interesting development of ideas throughout them, and have had wider implications for other Ubisoft titles especially, and the wider gaming world as well. Oh, and also mild spoilers for Far Cry 2 through to Far Cry 4. I'm not going to go into too much details on the story though, but it's a nice warning to have all the same. Slightly frustrated that you can't quite hold enough money? The fact you can only carry 10 arrows getting you down? Well, let's go murder some critically endangered animals, harvest their skin and organs, and make these highly important items. We kill all variety of endangered creatures. Bengal tigers? Yeah, needed to carry 2 more rockets. Galapagos turtles? Papa needed a new pair of shoes. Each location has a staggeringly deep variety of endangered animals for you to kill. They're also all really violent creatures as well. You can't walk 5 meters in Far Cry 3 or Far Cry 4 without being assaulted by an overly aggressive eagle or an enraged yak. The amount of bears that you run into, you wouldn't believe that they are endangered in the least bit. If you've ever had a dream of hunting dangerous endangered animals, as I assume most of the gun-owning population of America has had, Far Cry is the series for you. That or Cabela's Big Game Hunter. Look, I get it from a gameplay perspective, and it's fun in context of the game, and offers a nice sense of progression as you upgrade your equipment, and who doesn't like seeing a bear blown up with a grenade launcher? I just feel like we should feel maybe a little bad. Maybe just a little bit. Ah, fuck it, I needed a new wallet anyway. Also, I was so used to killing animals that when I went to play Far Cry 2 for the first time, I thought that I would have to kill animals there too. Yeah, no, I didn't. Sorry, zebras. I murdered you for no good reason.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
You tired of hotels, resorts and spas? Africa. Want to experience the country like it was meant to be experienced? Africa. Then the savannah and the lush jungles of Africa are just for you. Experience the rough and ready local culture as you embrace the spirit of adventure in this unique holiday destination. Africa. Experience local nightlife and the vibrant and thriving local bars. Africa. This region has all the climates to suit your needs. Want to experience the desert heat? Africa. Or perhaps a lush jungle? Africa. It's all a long car ride away. Africa. Oh, and don't forget the mosquito spray. You don't want to catch malaria now, do you? Africa. Far Cry as a series has come to define the typical Ubisoft game in both the positive and the negative ways. The fact that there even is a Ubisoft style of game can be traced back to the success of Far Cry 3 in a way. Far Cry 2 is a slightly different beast, but we'll get to that soon enough, believe me. That much vaunted Ubisoft formula was basically defined in Far Cry 3. Well, you can say it was Assassin's Creed that first defined it, but to me, at least most of the trappings were established by Far Cry 3. The formula is as follows. The map is all blocked out until you climb a radio tower to survey the surrounding environment. Once this is done, the map populates itself with various activities and stuff to do. These include outposts full of enemies that need to be cleared out to unlock fast travel points and safe houses, races, supply drops, hunting missions, assassinations, and so much more. If that sounds familiar, well done, you played an open world game post 2012. Assassin's Creed, Mad Max, Watch Dogs, The Crew, Horizon Zero Dawn, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and even Dynasty Warriors 9 and beyond follow this formula. Ubisoft effectively defined what an open world game was for near enough 7 years. While this has gotten incredibly played out by now, there was good reason for it. This was, and still is if done correctly, a really good way to lay out an open world game. It gives achievable goals to reach and a clear sense of direction that open world games can sometimes lack. The Ubisoft formula, as defined by Far Cry, was super successful because of this, and it became the de facto model to implement in an open world game. As a result, it led to incredible amounts of open world fatigue. The Far Cry 3 and 4 implementation does have its own set of unique problems other than feeling a little tired now. While the radio towers offer nice goals to attain and the outposts are fun to complete, the other activities, the racing and supply drops, etc., and collectibles, while numerous, are just kind of dull busy work used to fill the map with activities to brag about. Oh look, we've got dozens of activities for the player to complete. The fun of the game mostly comes from the combat against man and beast, and the other activities focus a little bit too much on the driving for my liking. I just do not find races and time runs fun at all, really, and they come off as more than a little uninspired. In Far Cry, I would say this is a lot less of a problem than it has become in other games, as a lot of the entertainment is derived from hunting and the outposts, so the monotony of the other side of activities doesn't matter as much. Ultimately, Ubisoft stumbled onto gold with this formula. It really did create a winning formula that changed how open world games were created. However, only Ubisoft could define the open world, then so thoroughly abuse it to make us sick of it. They are most of the reason we got so sick of the formula in the first place. Between the Assassin's Creed and the Far Cry series alone, they account for like half the open world games that made us so tired of this formula. Ubisoft became so well known for the abuse of this formula that even The Crew, a racing game, had bloody radio towers. Who even thought of putting that in a game where you can't even get out of the car? Well, the light is at the end of the tunnel. For those who are tired of open world games at any rate. Even Ubisoft now wants to move away from this formula with the upcoming release of Far Cry 5. Ubisoft giveth and Ubisoft taketh away.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Feel like breaking away from the boredom of everyday life? Well, stretches of unspoiled beauty await you on the beaches of this uncharted island. Seeking an explosion of adrenaline? Embrace the vibrant extreme sports culture. Try your hand at water sports. Try a spot of hang gliding, or the ever-exciting wingsuit gliding. Not exciting enough? Swim the sharks and get in touch with your wilder side. And explore the various exotic animals of every variety. Everything from the awe-inspiring Komodo dragon to the rare Galapagos turtle will create memories that will last forever. Looking for a more human element? The locals are more than willing to give you a new perspective on life.
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is? Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy.
Embrace the local culture and explore their towns and people. If you want to kick back and relax, you can also indulge in local herbal remedies for a true taste of local living.
This is new.
And hey, what's a holiday without some regrettable tattoos?
What the hell?
This video was initially meant to be a deep dive into a game I'd never played before, namely Far Cry 2. Now I want to preface this by saying that I don't hate the game or think it's terrible or anything like that, just not a game for me. It just has too many annoyances and design decisions that just make me want to rip a small llama apart. So first let's talk about weapon jamming. Weapons acquired from enemies are rusty and shitty, even from this fancy looking officer I might add, which really annoyed me, and are prone to jam in the middle of firefights. I get what they're going for, forcing you to buy and maintain your own weapons, but it was more than a little annoying being in a firefight and having a weapon jam on you. For me, it didn't add a sense of tension to the game or add any fun to the game. It mostly just served to make the game way more annoying to play. Even with the gun I bought jammed on me. Look, I get what they were going for, just really not for me. Next up on the chopping block is the game's map and traversal systems. Waypoints and objectives are just not displayed on screen in any way, but require you to bring up your map and stare at it to figure out where you're going. Look, this is a minor gripe in the grand scale of things, and was probably there to add immersion and the feeling that you were surviving in the wilderness. I just fucking hate it. Another sticking point for me is the lack of easy fast travel. You can't just go back to somewhere you've been before, but you have to go to the bus stop and have that take you somewhere. Look, again, I get it. Realism, immersion, etc. It just really annoyed me to the point where I was just in a constant state of annoyance playing this game, and it really didn't endear me to the experience at all. Next up on my tour of disapproval is the malaria mechanic. This one, I don't even get why it was a thing. So near the beginning of the game, the character contracts malaria, which needs to be treated throughout the game constantly with pills. What on earth the point of this was other than to annoy the player is beyond me. Look, as I've said before, I don't hold anything against the game. I get broadly what it's going for. Having played the subsequent Far Cry games though, it just felt infinitely more annoying. The shooting is fun and the environment interesting, I just found the surrounding games so annoying that I made this a broader Far Cry video instead of just playing Far Cry 2. And aren't you glad I did?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Venture to the rugged natural beauty of the Himalayan nation of Kirat. Forests and valleys full of nature are the defining feature of this charming nation, Kirat. Meet a strong-willed and independent people that will leave a certain impression on you. Kirat. People aren't the only attraction of this remote mountainous nation though. There's plenty of wildlife to discover as well. From the noble Bengal tiger to the ever rambunctious local yaks.
Are you guys? Victory is basically here, and that's a good thing.
There's always something exciting to see. Want to get up close and personal with the local wildlife? Then experience the wilds from the back of your own elephant. What's more fun than that? A breathtaking experience waits for you in the wilds of Kirat. Before making this video, I have to say I wasn't very excited for Far Cry 5. However, after playing these games again, I have to say I'm actually quite excited to play the game. I don't think the style of open world game is perfect, but I think it's the sort of game I want to play right now in my life. Ubisoft seems to have stepped away from some of the elements of their formula as well by removing the Radio Tower alliance they've had in the past. Maybe the game won't fall into some of the traps of Ubisoft titles past? Well, maybe not, but it's not like the Far Cry games aren't fun to play. It's just that the Ubisoft formula has grown more than a little old hat by now. It was fun seeing how the Far Cry games evolved though, and how that shaped Ubisoft games and the wider games industry as well. I also got to play some pretty good video games as well, and that's never a bad thing. Well, that's it for this installment of the DweltOggy Show, and the second on schedule. At this rate, we might actually be able to get somewhere in our lives. Well, tell me what you thought about the Far Cry games. Are you looking forward to Far Cry 5? Tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed your time, dislike it if you didn't, subscribe and ring the notification bell, especially if you want to see more DweltOggy shows and BluntLemons content. Well, now that I've appropriately shilled for the channel, let's see those bears blown up with a grenade launcher again, because that's always fun to see.